To finish out this problem, they want us to identify the vertical and horizontal intercepts. Well, here's the vertical one. Remember that when we're writing vertical intercepts, that the x is always going to be 0. So for vertical, x is always 0. For horizontal, y is always 0. So I can identify them just by looking at the graph and by looking at the equation. So I have 0, 10 as my vertical, and my horizontal would be 5, 0. Now we also have another one, negative 1, 8, 1/8 and 0. And so that's another value that I do have there. So I really do have multiple intercepts in this particular case, but this negative 1/8 doesn't make any sense because it's time. So we can't really have negative time when we're looking at those. Okay, so what do they mean? This is where we toss the object or throw the object up. This is where it hits the ground, okay? This doesn't mean anything. Okay, so we're going to be looking at some functions now and trying to identify certain pieces of it. Notice that we have two different forms. We have standard form and we have factored form. And so we can identify some pieces here. That should be standard. So notice here we have the 3. That's my y-intercept, which you'll notice is right there. So my y-intercept, as we can see it, remember x is 0 for the y-intercept, so that's 0, 3. And then for my x-intercepts, I can see them here. So I have negative 3, 0, and I have negative 1, 0. So negative 3, 0 tells me when x is 3, y is 0, negative 3, y is 0. That's this point right here. And then negative 1, 0 would be this point right here. So we go to the next one. So now what's this one? Well, there's my y-intercept, which is, I remember x is 0 there, so it's 0, 4. And my x-intercepts, plus 4 and plus 1. So I have 4, 0 and 1, 0. And of course, there's my 1, 0. There's my 4, 0. Okay, a couple more. Now this seems like it's tricky, but remember it's just the constant, so I only care about the constant. So that is my y-intercept. So x is 0, so it's 0, negative 9, located right down here. You can see that my x-intercepts, based on the equation, the factored form, plus 3 and minus 3. So I have 3 and 0 and negative 3 and 0. Of course, 3 and 0 is located right here. Negative 3 and 0 is located right there. Okay, so this one's a little tricky only because, well, actually it isn't because we don't have a constant, but we don't have a constant, so it's kind of like having a big plus 0 there. There is my y-intercept, so when x is 0, y is 0. Come down here and notice that I have 2. Notice when we don't have anything for x, that tells me that one of my intercepts is when x is equal to 0. So remember that we know y is 0 for my x-intercepts. So this other 0 appears because of the 0 that's located here. So this x here is kind of like writing x minus 0 times x minus 5. And then this 0 goes there. And then on my other x-intercept, I have 5, 0. That's because of this one. So then we'll go through the last 2 slides on the next video.